Welcome to the FullyCrypto podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the FullyCrypto podcast, your home of quality blockchain and cryptocurrency news, reviews, opinion and more. My name is Mark Hunter and I'm here with my regular co-host Alex. Alex, how you doing, brother?
Howdy, partner. I'm good, cheers. How are you doing?
I am livid, in fact.
Why are you livid?
There's a very specific reason and it involves my children.
Oh, no.
Well, it sounds bad, but it's actually worse than that. So, you know the trays of biscuits that you get? They're the kind of selection pack in the tray, and you pull the tray out. You've got your bourbons, your custard creams, your jammy dodgers, your hobnobs for dipping in your tea. You've got that little selection pack.
Yeah.
You know the one I mean?
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, but off the top of your head, what is the one problem with those selection packs?
You only get like 2 of each, don't you?
Well, not even that. I'm talking logistics. You can't get the damn thing back in. Once you've taken it out, you've got to be some kind of
true.
Houdini to get them back in again. So we kind of have a rule in our house that once they've come so far out of the pack you can't get it back in, they all go in the biscuit rabbit.
Okay.
So I know my missus brought a pack of these family circle biscuits a few days ago. So I'm thinking, right, you know what? I'm done for the day. Cup of tea, a couple of biscuits. Perfect. So I go to the cupboard. And what do you think I see?
I'm going to guess you're just going to see the tray of biscuits just laying there.
Just laying there. They're completely unrestricted, unconstrained. I'm like, right, okay.
Oh.
This concerns me because I know they were bought a couple of days ago and my kids are gannets. So the chances are they have ripped into this and left it open for 2 days. So I pick up a hobnob. And I go to bite it.
Oh, no.
What do you expect from a hobnob?
It's a nice crunch.
That nice crunch. And what do you think I got?
No, I'm going to guess it was like eating a banana.
It was just sludge.
Oh.
It fell apart in my hands. And at that moment, I was panicked because I'm like, if that's bad, the rest are going to be the same. And it's pretty much a full tray of biscuits apart from the 4 they took. And I'm squishing each individual one. Every single biscuit is ruined. Ruined. I had to throw the whole lot away.
That is a surefire way to destroy your afternoon.
Oh, I was so angry.
What punishment did you give them for that?
I didn't want to be too harsh because I knew I'd really upset them. If I really let loose with my true emotions, I'd really upset them. So I was very restrained. Please remember, when we open the biscuits, they go in the biscuit rabbit.
Just holding back the anger as much as possible.
I really was.
Love it.
It ruined my day. It really ruined my day.
You're in a bad mood then tonight, huh?
I was, until I got my new fancy podcast headphones, which I'm donning tonight.
Oh yeah? How are they going? They look really nice.
They look nice. They're all right. They are very crisp, but there is no bass at all. So I can't hear your deep guttural thrusting tones coming through my ears.
I don't have any.
Well, it may be your natural tenor, but to me, you sound like a child trapped in a Tupperware box tonight. So
yeah, that's my natural tenor.
Oh, maybe that's not too bad then. Maybe my headphones are fine.
No, you're just sounding me like you're actually talking to me in real life now.
It's like when you hear yourself back.
How do I turn up the bass?
When you hear yourself back for the first time, you think, I can't sound like a scarecrow being murdered, surely.
Sadly, that's what I sound like. I sound like everybody's worst nightmare.
At least I know that it's not just my headphones. Then I'll listen to a bit of. I'll listen to my favourite musical genre, some drum and bass. If the jungle's not massive, they're going back. I will move on to our first story. It's funny because I was thinking this week, it's been quite a quiet week in crypto until this morning when the Uniswap airdrop hit like a fucking bombshell and caused all sorts of ructions. Did you point this out to me this morning, or was it somebody else?
I did, actually. I woke up, saw it on Facebook, so I sent it to you because I know you're a Uniswap fan.
I'm a Uniswap user. I'm not a Uniswap fan. I hate them. I hate the
Uniswap
exchange.
unicorn.
Well, I was very down on the exchange, but the fact that they sent every user, well, not even every user, if you've ever had a wallet that you've linked up to the exchange and traded with it, that wallet was entitled to at least 400 tokens, more if you were a liquidity provider. So because I'd used my MetaMask wallet in the past. I was like, oh, great. So I'll give it a go. Because you told me people are getting it for $1,000. And I thought, that sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
And so I think at that point, it was maybe about like $2 a token or something. So I thought, well, you know what? That's not too bad. So the first thing that comes up is the little MetaMask box that comes up, and when it shows what you want to do when you want to execute a transaction. And I know Uniswap well enough now to know that nothing is for free on that platform. Nothing. So I'm like, hang on a second. Before this little box popped up, I was like, are they going to charge me for this? So the first thing that comes up is you got to pay to claim the token, because the token is sitting with them in their contract. It's got to come over to your wallet. So it's like any other transaction on the platform. You got to pay for it. $17 to get my free tokens. And there was no option for changing the gas fee or anything like that. So $17 to get your free tokens.
That's just Ethereum, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's not Uniswap's fault. It's the Ethereum thing, as we've discussed before, and we'll discuss again. So I thought, okay, well, you know, the $17, fine, get it. So I made the claim, and it came through in a couple of minutes, and I thought, that's all hunky-dory. So I thought, well, what do I do with it? Because I saw that it was trading on Binance. They must have done some deal with Binance, because it was trading on Binance immediately, and Coinbase like a few hours later. So they've obviously known beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you know what? Binance has got kind of better liquidity and all this sort of stuff. So I send it over there. So the thing was, I've spent all the little bit of ETH I had left in my MetaMask wallet has gone on claiming the token. So I'm like, shit, I've got no ETH to send it with. So I thought, okay, what I'm going to have to do, as ridiculous as this sounds, I'm going to have to go to Binance, buy 0.05 ETH, send it from Binance to Uniswap to send the tokens back to Binance.
Oh, dear.
God. I thought that's the only way I can do this. I can't sell it on Uniswap because I've got no ETH either. So the ETH comes in, all clears, wonderful. Let's send it over. But before I do that, I've got to approve the new tokens for sale. They've got this weird thing on Uniswap where when you want to sell a token you've bought or you want to send it on, you have to have it approved. I don't know who by, but someone has to approve it, which is basically another Ethereum transaction. I was like, okay. So I press approve, $9.57. Yeah, just to do anything with the token. Like you got slow, medium, and fast. So this is under fast. It's $9.57. I thought, okay, fine. So let's just do it. So I pressed it. Okay, so done. Here it goes, coming through fast. 5 minutes, nothing. 10 minutes, nothing. 15 minutes, nothing. 20 minutes, nothing. Nothing is approving.
Serious?
Yeah. So I'm going to have to somehow up this gas fee. So in MetaMask, you can do the thing called speed up, where you press speed up. You can put a bit more money into the petrol tank to get you a bit more gas, right? So I go to put more money in.
Okay.
I've run out of fucking money. I've got no ETH left. I've spent it all on claiming the airdrop and approving the sale.
Oh no! So you got to go back Binance and buy more again?
Yeah. So no, I had enough in there to cancel the transaction, because at this point I thought, well, something's gone wrong here. So I thought I'm going to cancel the transaction. $4.38 to cancel the transaction. I'm like, right, okay. So let's just cancel it and start again. So I cancel it, and I've used up all my ETH I sent from Binance. I've got nowhere really. I've got the token, but I can't do anything else with it until I send myself more ETH. So back to Binance to buy more ETH. I buy more ETH and I send it through to MetaMask again. What I also don't get at this point is how Binance, for quite a low fee, for like $5 or so, how can Binance get my Ethereum to me that quickly? Within like 5 minutes, my Ethereum comes from Binance into my MetaMask for like $5. So why doesn't it work the other way?
Yeah, true. You should be able to send at the same speed they are, unless they have some preference with mining pools.
There must be something there. I don't get how it works, but either way, it came through. I'm like, okay, right,
Yeah.
let's start this again. So I thought I sent it back to Binance again with the biggest gas fee I could do, like 500 gwei or something. And it still says this is on more than their fast setting. It's going to take an hour to get there. I'm like, oh, I should have gone for Uniswap. I should have done Uniswap, but I've had bad luck with selling Uniswap before. 15 minutes gone, half an hour gone, 45 minutes gone, an hour gone, and still nothing. So again, I'm like, and at this point, a mate has said to me, he spent 2.5 hours and he's not even got it. So I'm thinking at this point, every man and his dog is either selling on Uniswap or sending his coins to Binance. So all I can do now is just use every little bit of ETH I've got left to just boost the transaction to try and get it through. And at this point, through this hour, the token's gone up from $2.50 up to $4.50 and down to $3.50, and it's coming down, 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 down. So I'm like, the longer it takes, is the more this token is coming down in price. So I maxed out my ETH, and it finally got through after about an hour and 10 minutes. I was able to sell. I spent $50 overall in getting the tokens and selling them from one point to the next with $50. And obviously, I'm not complaining that I got that money at all. But it's the fact that the process it takes. Bear in mind, you compare this to other airdrops from 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when it would appear in your MetaMask wallet for free, and you send it to Binance at a very little fee, and you'd sell it. But this whole thing of you've got to pay to get it, you've got to pay to approve it, you've got to pay through the nose to send it, and if it's not working, you've got to pay to cancel it, pay more to send it again. Again, it's not Uniswap's fault.
It's a bit convoluted, really, isn't it?
It really, really is. I do feel bad complaining about it, but the fact that it's so many steps, it's so confusing, you don't know what to do for the best. It just shows that even 3 years past the bull run, we still have these massive issues with Ethereum.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's still the DeFi crap, isn't it? Everyone's still making their millions of transactions every single day, clogging up the network.
Yeah. And I think it had a bit of a reprieve because when Bitcoin and Ethereum crashed a few days ago, Uniswap lost like 75% of its liquidity in one day. It all just dropped. And the gas prices went down when they had been $15, went down to $3. So they were much more reasonable again. And they've been okay they've been creeping back up a little bit. But all it took was this one airdrop to screw things again. It's crazy. It shouldn't be this hard to do it.
Yeah, it's amazing that one airdrop can like crush the entire network and kill it.
Yeah.
It's just...
I hate Tron. Obviously, I hate Tron, hate Justin Sun. But what they've done for Tether is brilliant. I know that Tether's on loads of other networks now, but when it moved from Ethereum, I started using it on Tron, and it's so damn quick. It's so fast compared to Ethereum. I wish there was a way.
No one uses Tron,
but it's genuinely obviously a faster system, and I wish there was some way that Uniswap could employ a different system sometimes to do this, because it's so backward. That's the thing that bugs me, is that we're 3 years past it, but the whole thing is taken a massive backward step.
Yeah, it's not moving forward. It's not adapting and growing. It's not evolving. It's just staying the same. If that, I mean, like you say, it's going backwards. It's not getting better. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like in the next bull run?
Oh God, if
this is what it's like just with a one airdrop.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be insane.
We got to this point in like November and December of 2017. It was this bad. I mean, I don't know if you remember when you'd do some ICO and you'd have to spend a fortune on a gas fee just to even get it there. But we're at the very beginnings of the next bull market, and we're at this point already. It's terrifying to think if they don't scale quickly, how bad it's going to be when it really does hit. I mean, I remember when...
exactly. When the next bull run hits, it's just going to clog up and you're not going to get transactions moved for days.
No. It was like that with...
Unless you're going to pay like $1,000 in transaction fees.
Yeah. It was like that with Bitcoin. I remember people in mid-December, late December, people were buying into Bitcoin for the first time, getting all excited. And they'd be like, great, I bought it on Coinbase or whatever. And like 5 hours later, they hadn't received it. Or... You're trading. You try and send some Bitcoin from your cold wallet to an exchange to trade with it, and by the time you sent it there, whatever you're trading, it was just it's gone, it's down.
Yeah, you need to keep it somewhere you can just swap it, not like an actual exchange. You need a non-custodial swap exchange. That's my secret trick for you, by the way. Use those because you don't have to wait for it to clear twice. It just clears once.
So talk me through that process then. What's different with that than the process that everyone else uses?
So you just send it straight to someone else. You get matched with someone else, like in an order book somewhere randomly from like millions of exchanges. It just swaps it. So you send your Bitcoin. So, okay, so say you want to sell your Bitcoin for 10 Tron. I don't know, let's just say what's that? It's worth that, just for argument's sake. You'll get matched like within a minute. You make the transaction. As soon as it sees the transaction is there and it's got like a couple of confirmations, the Tron will be on its way to you. So rather than you waiting for it to go to Coinbase to say, okay, fine, it's in your account, swap it to Tron, then to cash out your Tron, you just go straight from Bitcoin straight into Tron, and you cut out basically the middleman.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, it saves you a ton in fees too.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I mean, obviously, you still pay fees. They're still large, but you're not paying as many fees as you would if you went through a big exchange.
Yeah.
And there are loads of these non-custodial exchanges around. They're well worth looking into, especially when it gets messy, like in the bull run times.
Yeah, and that's good because then you can undercut the people you're basically competing with to get the best deals on the exchanges.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And even if you just pump your fees up to the max, you're still going to get there fast if you send it to Coinbase.
In certain circumstances, if you want to send lots of money abroad through a wire transfer or a bank transfer, yes, it can take a couple of days and it can be quite expensive. But 90% of the transactions that normal people do cost nothing and are instant. Like if I was to send you some money from bank to bank, like NatWest to Barclays or something, it would be there within seconds and it would be free, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, it'd be there before you even shut the app or before the app's even finished its loading screen.
Yeah, and you compare that to not all blockchains, obviously, but you compare to Ethereum, especially, and it takes hour to get there, and even the fastest ones, even the fastest centralized blockchains aren't as quick as regular payment methods. And until that is fixed, that it's not going to take off, because unless you have a real beef with centralization, which how many people in the world really are bothered about centralization, really?
Yeah.
You're not going to sacrifice the convenience and the fact that you're not going to change something you've done every day of your life for something else just because there's no middleman involved. If it's a worse experience.
I must say, actually, I do that a lot. Like, for example, I got fed up with Google trying to charge me crap for storage, and the same with Microsoft. So I just bought a NAS. But the experience isn't the same. The experience is shit. It's not instant. It's not... it doesn't just work. You've got to worry about power cuts, and it's just much more of a headache than you just log in and it's done.
Because it's down to you. You're responsible for it. So because you're responsible for it, you have to do all the legwork, and that's not as appealing. And it's always a toss-up between, do I care more about the fact that I'm in control of everything or the fact that it's a real pain in the arse?
I like being in control of it, but it's like an absolute nightmare. Like, we've had storms here lately, and I've just been turning the NAS off just to be safe, because if one of the drives corrupts or both corrupt because of the power outage, then that's all my data gone. I'm screwed.
Yeah,
it's terrifying. I hate being in control. I hate having responsibility of these things. But then I like the freedom.
Well, that's it. What value can you place on that? And when it comes to transactions, just to monetary transactions, it shouldn't cost. Well, not that it shouldn't cost, but if something costs $50 to send a payment, because the whole thing with blockchain is that, it doesn't matter how much you send, it all costs a low fee. This guy sent $2 billion worth of Bitcoin and it only cost him 5 cents to send. Yeah, but I sent the equivalent of like $1,200 worth of Ethereum, and it cost me $50 to get it and to send it. So
yeah, I think that's the biggest issue, is that it's not a constant. It fluctuates.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't scale well. There's no scaling solutions that seem to work on these bigger blockchains.
Yeah.
Unless you want to dive into a second layer solution like the Lightning Network, which just isn't practical.
Well, I mean, the second iteration of Ethereum is supposed to be the answer to all these problems, but it has to come before the next bull run really takes hold. So that was my experience, and I know that I'm not alone in the experience this morning. So yeah, I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth. It was amazing to receive this airdrop out of nowhere, but the process of going about getting this free money cost $50 to get it, and the way that you have to go about doing it in this supposedly reduced cost and frictionless environment, no, didn't happen.
You're listening to the FullyCrypto podcast.
The second story we wanted to touch on today is one that involves a part of the cryptocurrency and blockchain space that, I don't know about you, Alex, but it gets me all excited.
It
Regulations.
does. I love regulations.
Ah,
I'm
who
a
doesn't?
stickler for the rules.
You know what? Get that red
It's like
tape, wrap that
Christmas.
red tape all around the blockchain space and tax it to hell.
Yes, do it. Like I wrap all my Christmas presents with red tape.
Well, the reason we're talking about red tape in the first place is because the Financial Action Task Force, who are the body who, over the past 18 months or so, are doing their damnedest to make sure that no one can go skipping around the crypto space selling their airdrops for nothing and paying no tax or committing money laundering and all this sort of thing.
That sounds familiar.
They are the guys that are putting all these rules in place, and they have come out with something that's quite interesting in the last week or so. They published a series of red flags, basically, that they think that regulators and authorities should be looking out for in order to spot bad people doing bad shit on the blockchain.
Like you, Mark, trying to get your free airdrop tokens that
Just
I
like
told you
me.
about, and you never gave me a cut.
Just like me. So, without having had a look at this list, what do you think, Alex, are the kind of things that the Financial Action Task Force will have highlighted to be things that might flag up as possible bad shit blockchain style?
Well, without looking at it, based on a Western world that is terrified of the East, possibly something to do with your name, or somewhere you're from, maybe your country, say you're making a transaction from North Korea, I imagine they're going to flag that up, aren't they?
That partly plays into it. Obviously, if you're just sending from a random Bitcoin wallet to an exchange, they can't peg where you've come from. But you're right in principle. Who you are has a big part to play in whether they think you could be conducting some naughty bits online, because the personal profile is something they're going to be looking at. So they're looking for anomalies. So the typical cryptocurrency user is white male in his 20s, as I think we all are pretty much aware of. So what they're saying is that if you are not that demographic, then they might take a look at you just to start with. But if you have got, if you've got any kind of criminal record of any type, if they link you to any activity in forums or on any social media to do with any kind of illicit activity, all these things they're saying are examples of the kind of person, the profile of person who commits cryptocurrency crime.
Okay, so basically John McAfee's fucked because he does all those things, except for he's white.
He's
That's the
white,
problem.
but he is a boomer, so they might have issues with him.
He's old. He's got drug issues, he's got arrest warrants out for him, doesn't he? He ticks many of the boxes.
I'd imagine also the fact he's trying to create a completely anonymous cryptocurrency isn't going to work in his favor.
Exactly. So I imagine every transaction he makes is going to get flagged up. So if you're waiting for payments from him, you're going to be waiting a while.
Yeah, especially if you're the developer on one of his bloody projects. He doesn't know who you are. Even less chance.
Oh, good old McAfee.
So that's one thing they're looking for, is the person who's doing the transactions. In terms of the transactions themselves, the other things they're looking for are people who are breaking the mold. So if you are typically sending a couple of bit of Bitcoin here, bit of Bitcoin there, bit of ETH back and forth, and you suddenly get in a great whacking load of Zcash or a great whacking load of Bitcoin or whatever, that's multiples more than you normally get, either in one big spell or over a continuous period, they can look at that and they can say, well, we think that's from money laundering, we think that's from a scam, we think you're a money mule for somebody. Because otherwise, if your traditional pattern is sending bits here and there, how else do you account for a massive load of crypto coming into your account in one go?
Yeah, I guess unless it's bull season and Bitcoin's worth, say, 50 grand. Then I could understand someone sending all their Bitcoin and cashing out. But I guess that would be an exception to the rule, and they would investigate that and see that's what happened. Yeah,
and I get the impression they'll have ways of knowing kind of where it's come from, because this is the thing: if it's come from an exchange, then you're fine. If it's come from a wallet that's had some previous activity, you're kind of okay. If it's come from a brand new wallet whose only transaction is like 1,000 Bitcoin or something, and it goes straight into you, that's so dodgy.
Yeah, exactly. If it's a wallet you've owned for decades, possibly, then I imagine that'll be fine. They'll be like, okay, fair enough. It was sat there for a long time. It's his.
Yeah. So I think they
And he's white, it's okay.
they're starting to see the kind of patterns that these guys who perform these kind of things take. So that's the Uniswap debacle covered, and we've now talked about regulations and how lovely and wonderful they are. Is there anything else you wanted to throw into today's episode?
Yeah,
Alex?
I want to thank you all. We signed up to LBRY.tv, LBRY.tv, and we signed up there maybe, was it a month and a half, 2 months ago? It's basically like decentralized YouTube, and we finally hit 100 followers. So thank you all for that.
Hey!
We got like 50. We got 50 new
for us.
We got 50 new LBC tokens, so we're going to start like promoting our content even more. It's a super exciting evening for us. Like I've been watching that counter go up to like 98, 99, and it was on 99 for hours, and then we crept over to 100. I don't know who number 100 is, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much to everyone that's watched and listened to our stuff on LBRY, and thank you especially to our anonymous 100th user. We'd love to send you something in the post, but we have nothing, and we don't know who you are. So we're safe.
Sorry, it's a bit decentralized. We have no idea who you are. There's no Google Analytics. There's nothing. If you followed us on Thursday, 17th September, before 9 p.m. Central European summertime, if you followed us maybe between, I don't know, 5 and 9 p.m., like send us a message somewhere. We want to give you some sort of reward. Reach out and we'll try and find a way. We'll speak to LBRY and make sure you're not telling us bullshit just to get a gift.
I feel bad because I remember we celebrated our 100th or our 200th Twitter follower. Yeah, we celebrated them publicly, so I feel bad we can't celebrate.
Yeah, we want to give you a shout out for being fucking epic.
Yeah.
Maybe just epic.
So, thank you. Thank you to just dropping the F-bomb casually. Kids listening and everything.
Sorry, children. You learned this from Mark,
good news.
Not me.
It deserves an F-bomb. So thank you everyone for listening to us today. Thank you, Alex, for co-hosting yet again. It's been good to chat to you.
Thanks for having me again. I'm surprised you're not bored of me yet. I'm a bit boring.
Hey, I do most of the talking, so if they're bored of anybody, it's going to be me.
You do, but you're nice to listen to. I sound like Darth Vader's weird, squeaky-voiced minion.
I still blame that on the headphones. It's my headphones.
It's the headphones and the microphone. It's all your headphones and your speakers. It's not me. It's all of your problems, not mine.
So don't forget, you can follow us at FullyCrypto on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And of course, Alex, the website is
FullyCrypto.com.
FullyCrypto.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will speak to you again next week in another episode of the Fully Crypto podcast. Ta-ta for now.
Ciao, good night, have a good one, guys.